A little boy counted his pennies carefully, his tiny hands shaking with excitement. He had been dreaming of ice cream all week, saving every coin he could find, but the total wasn't enough to buy even a single scoop. He walked into the shop, eyes full of hope and a little fear. What happened next left everyone in the store holding their breath. Tommy was 7 years old with a mop of unruly brown hair and a backpack that had seen better days. Every morning he walked to school past the busy streets of his small town, barefoot sometimes, and always with a heart full of dreams bigger than his circumstances. His mother worked long hours at the diner and money was always tight. Yet, despite their struggles, Tommy never lost his small, bright smile or his gentle way of seeing the world. This week, there was something special on his mind. Tommy had spotted a new ice cream shop that had opened just down the street, its windows painted in cheerful colors, filled with cones that seemed to sparkle in the sunlight. He had never been able to buy ice cream before, not with lunch money, not even with the coins he sometimes found under the couch cushions at home. But this week, Tommy had been saving. Every penny he found, every coin he earned by helping neighbors with small chores. He carefully tucked into an old tin can. He counted them every night before bed, lining them up on the floor and whispering, "Almost there. Almost there." His collection wasn't large, maybe just enough for one small scoop if he was lucky, but it was his treasure, and Tommy had been dreaming about that creamy, cold treat all week. He imagined the vanilla melting in his mouth, the chocolate drizzle forming little rivers of happiness on his tongue. Finally, Saturday arrived. Tommy woke early, brushed his teeth, and with a shy, determined smile, grabbed his tin of coins. He had only 27 cents, far short of the $1 scoop he wanted, but he clutched them tightly. Today he would try. Maybe, just maybe, the shopkeeper would let him have a little taste. As he walked down the sunny street, the coins jingled softly in his pocket, a delicate music that only he seemed to hear. He peeked through the glass doors and saw children laughing, holding colorful cones in their hands. Tommy's stomach fluttered. He imagined himself there, ice cream in hand, and felt a mix of hope and nervousness. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the door. The bell above tinkled softly, announcing his arrival. He walked up to the counter, coins trembling in his small fist. His voice barely above a whisper, he said, I want 1 scoop of vanilla, please. I only have, 27 cents. The shop was warm, filled with the scent of waffle cones and chocolate syrup. Tommy's eyes shone with both excitement and worry. Would the shopkeeper laugh? Would they turn him away? The man behind the counter, Mr. Jacobs, looked down at the boy and the handful of coins. A pause stretched longer than any silence Tommy had ever known. Around them, the other customers watched, some with curiosity, some with a faint impatience. "I'm sorry, son," Mr. Jacobs said gently. "A scoop costs $1. "You don't have enough." Tommy's face fell instantly. He had imagined this moment over and over, but nothing prepared him for the disappointment that washed over him now. His heart sank like a stone in water. He shuffled his feet, looked down at the floor, and whispered, I saved all my pennies. I tried." A few children nearby snickered. "That's so little!" "Why even bother?" one of them said, tossing a gummy candy in the air. Tommy's cheeks burned. He felt invisible, small, and utterly unimportant in a world that seemed too big and too unfair for a boy with 27 cents. He looked back at the coins in his hand, counting them over and over. Each one was a tiny effort, a tiny dream, but together they were not enough. He thought of the evenings he spent helping Mrs. Lane with her garden, the mornings he picked up cans from the street, the quiet sacrifices he made at home so his mother could rest. And now it seemed all of that was meaningless. Tears welled up in his eyes, but he blinked them away, unwilling to let them fall in front of strangers. I guess I'll just go," he murmured, turning toward the door. His small shoulders slumped, each step heavier than the last. The laughter of the other children echoed behind him. The shop smelled of chocolate and cones, of happiness that he could almost touch but not hold. Tommy's heart felt hollow, the kind of hollow that comes from wanting something so deeply and being told, even gently, that it isn't yours. As he reached the door, the bell tinkled again, but not in celebration this time. It felt like a farewell, a reminder of what he couldn't have. He pressed his lips together and stepped outside, the sun suddenly too bright, the air too warm. He clutched his tin of coins close to his chest, each jingle a painful echo of the dreams he carried alone. But then, something unexpected happened. A hand gently rested on Tommy's shoulder. He looked up to see Mr. Jacobs smiling warmly. "Wait a minute, Tommy," he said. "Come back here." Tommy froze, unsure if he should. The kindness in the man's eyes made his heart flutter. "I saw how hard you worked to save your pennies," Mr. Jacobs continued. "That takes courage and patience, and that's worth something." With that, Mr. Jacobs reached under the counter and pulled out a small, shining scoop of vanilla ice cream. He handed it to Tommy with a gentle smile. "Here, this one's on me." Tommy blinked in disbelief. His hands trembled as he took the cone. The creamy sweetness seemed to glow in his small fingers, a treasure far beyond what he had imagined. For a moment, the world felt bright, soft, and full of hope. He looked at the other children who had laughed at him, and they were quiet now, watching him with something like wonder. He took a careful lick. The cold, sweet ice cream melted on his tongue, and a warmth spread through his chest. It wasn't just the flavor, it was the feeling of being seen, valued, and cared for. All the little moments of saving, hoping, and dreaming had finally been acknowledged. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice breaking slightly. Mr. Jacobs just winked. Sometimes all it takes is a little kindness to make the world right, even for a moment. Tommy's heart felt light as he licked his ice cream, savoring every drop. He thought of his mother and how proud she would be. He thought of his dreams and how they were now a little closer, thanks to someone who noticed his effort. The shop was no longer just a shop. It was a place where hope existed, where kindness could transform a day and maybe even a life. Tommy smiled, and for the first time that week, he felt the pure, unshakable joy of being truly seen. By the time he finished the ice cream, his tiny world felt bigger, warmer, and filled with promise. And in his heart, he knew he would carry this memory forever, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could make an enormous difference. Sometimes, it's the little gestures that shine the brightest. A single scoop of ice cream became a lesson in hope. Kindness costs so little, yet it can mean everything. We all have the power to change someone's day, and in that change, we make the world a little sweeter.